Aloha and welcome to this module on database design is essentially what it is, the implementation um, of your data design through a back-end Postgres relational database management system. Um, the outcome for this is to be able to use relational database management systems, very simple. And that involves a few steps. You've got to learn how to build domain models that are kind of amenable to being stored in a relational database mechanism. So we've been working on that last week, actually, when you were building those diagrams with entities and one-to-many and many-to-many and all that stuff. That was kind of getting you to start thinking about the way to have Java classes organized in such a way that they can easily be persisted. And that's what we'll be exploring in this particular module. As you can see, there's quite a few readings. There's a dozen different readings. Documentation about IntelliJ's database tool support, which will enable you to connect to a backend database. Heroku has built-in support for PostgreSQL, so it's quite easy once you've got your application running with a local Postgres database to deploy it to the cloud and have it use a Heroku supplied database instead. I've got a sample system here, play example PostgreSQL, that shows you in a nutshell how to connect a play application to a backend PostgreSQL database. And there's a video associated with this system. If you go here and you scroll down, you can click on this link and I walk you through things. There's documentation for Play Framework about the eBean Object Relational Management System, which is the way that we connect Java classes to the underlying relational database table. So we don't write raw SQL statements to get some strings and then somehow populate Java classes out of that. Instead, we use this thing, an Object Relational Manager, which means we're going to annotate Java classes in such a way that this eBean framework can persist Java classes out to the relational database manager, put the fields all into tables and so forth, and then read them back out when we use a query language also supplied by eBean. And that effectively, that has a number of benefits. It can be more efficient. It avoids us having to set up our tables. We can evolve the database simply by changing the set of Java classes, and the system can update the relational database definitions to support those changes. Lots of security advantages. There's a lot of advantages to using an object relational manager. And in fact, in talking about evolutions, here's a little document for that. Very important is this page, Model Implementation Guidelines. This I've been developing over the past few semesters based upon problems that students have had, how to kind of understand various things. And you can look through that to hopefully help give you a better conceptual sense for what's going on. There's some reference materials, APIs and so forth, and some optional readings as well if you want to go into more detail. Okay, so those are the readings. In terms of experiences, I'll have an experience to have you install PostgreSQL locally, an experience where you use this very simple application and download it and run it and make sure that you can actually make a play application that you didn't write connect to a Postgres database. And then I'll have you take an existing system that doesn't use PostgreSQL and have it use PostgreSQL and actually deploy it to Heroku. Then finally we start getting to the point of making our digits application use PostgreSQL as a backend. And there's basically two WADs. The first one is where we're going to restructure the Java classes in the models package to be set up correctly for persistency. And then we'll actually go ahead and connect up PostgreSQL in the second WAD. And then you'll finish off with a technical essay. So big module, a lot of work involved with this one, but it's a pretty key part of the whole web application framework problem. And hopefully by the end of this week you'll have a better grip on how to do things.